You know what's going on. He's unsure and you feel it all the time. He doesn't say anything, but you notice the way he avoids fully committing, how he gets close and then pulls away. It's as if he's waiting for something. Maybe for you to make it easier, maybe for you to insist. But you're not going to, because you've figured out that someone who really wants it doesn't hesitate this much. And if he's torn between staying or leaving, the answer is already there. Someone who sees you as a priority doesn't live in this limbo, and it hurts because you feel something strong. But you're not going to beg for emotional crumbs. You're not going to sacrifice your peace for someone who is still trying to figure out if it's worth choosing you. You've already done your part. You were sincere, you were present, you were all in. Now the decision is his, and if he wants it, let him make a move. Let him face his own fears. Let him take the risk. Because you're no longer in the position of waiting, you're in the position of deserving to be chosen with conviction. And now is the time for you to be more honest with yourself than you've ever been with anyone else. Because you're no longer willing to carry the doubt of someone who isn't sure if they want to stay. You are not half of anything. You are not here to be the backup plan or a comfortable option when the outside world is scary. You are a choice. You are a presence, and you deserve reciprocity. What is hurting you is not love, it's uncertainty. It's being with someone who looks at you but doesn't truly see you, who hears you but doesn't listen, who touches you but doesn't fully connect. And that slowly eats away at you. It drains your energy, makes you doubt yourself, as if you were the problem. But you're not. And deep down you know that. Oh, what hurts you is carrying a feeling that is too beautiful inside a space that doesn't know how to handle intensity. It's about loving someone who is still learning to cope with their own emptiness. And the truth is, you can't fill anyone up. You can be there. You can walk alongside them. You can support them. But carrying someone who doesn't want to walk on their own, no. That's not love. That's sacrifice. And you weren't born to sacrifice yourself for those who don't have the courage to experience what they feel. He knows what you represent. He sees what you have together. But between seeing and choosing, there is a chasm. Only he can cross it. If he doesn't cross it, it's not because of a lack of love. It's due to a lack of readiness. It's fear. It's ego. And that's not something you can solve for him. Don't insist. Don't try to convince. Don't lower your tone to fit his comfort. Because every time you shrink yourself to avoid scaring him, you hurt yourself. You lose yourself. You want someone who stays, who looks you in the eyes and says firmly, I want to be here, I choose you, I will try even when I'm scared. Anything less than that is not enough. Not anymore. And yes, he may leave. He might choose the easier path, the one of escape, the one of silence. But that's not the end. That's just the confirmation of what you already knew but didn't want to accept. He's not ready. And that's okay, the pain will pass, but the peace of no longer carrying that weight will set you free. You won't tolerate half measures anymore. Because those who truly love don't straddle the fence. Those who feel deeply don't pull away to think. Those who choose do so with intention, with presence, with commitment. You deserve someone who is with you because they want to be, not because they feel pressured. Someone who gives themselves because they feel it, not because they're afraid of losing you. Love that builds doesn't arise from doubt. It comes from certainty. And if he doesn't have certainty, then he can't occupy that space inside you any longer. You will no longer adapt to other people's fears. You won't ask to be loved anymore. You are love. And those who don't recognize that simply aren't on the same level as you. Is it difficult? Yes. Because there are feelings involved. There is history. There is commitment. But there is also your worth. And that comes first. You may like someone. You may even love them. But you will choose yourself every time, even with a heavy heart. Because when it comes down to it, you are the one who has to live with the consequences of every choice you make. And waiting for someone who doesn't know what they feel is exhausting. It hurts. It eats away at you. And you are no longer willing to live under those conditions. Don't sabotage yourself trying to understand his reasons. Don't try to rationalize his absence, justify his indecision, or soften his coldness. What is true is clear. What is love is simple. What is mutual does not weigh you down. You need to stop thinking you have to prove your worth. Those who don't see it now won't see it later. You don't need to be perfect, you don't need to do more or give in more. You have already given enough. Now it's time to watch what he does with everything he has received. You aren't losing anything if he decides to leave. You are simply making room to live something complete. And maybe, in the future, he will realize it. Maybe he will miss you. Maybe he will understand what he lost, but by then it won't matter. Because by that time, you will have already understood that it's not worth waiting for someone who didn't appreciate your presence while you were still there. Will you miss him? Yes. But you will also feel relief. Because loving someone who doesn't fully commit is living with half of yourself on pause. It's holding back tears, swallowing your pride, smiling when everything inside is screaming. And you won't live like that anymore. You will move on, it will hurt, but it will pass because you are strong, because you have been through other falls and got back up. And this time, you won't fall. You will break free. You know what you deserve. And even though it may seem difficult right now, you will thank yourself later for not allowing yourself to stay in a place where love was uncertain. So don't ask yourself what he will choose anymore. Ask yourself, what will you choose for you? You've spent too much time trying to be understanding, trying to see his side, his timing, his fears. But what about your side? Who looked out for you with that same patience? Who embraced you when you silenced your own desires to maintain something that, deep down, was already crumbling? You gave yourself. You adjusted. You ignored signs because you wanted it to work out, because you still believed that if you held on a little longer, he would come around, he would choose you, he would awaken. But he didn't. And that absence during moments that mattered more than any pretty words, that's what leaves a mark. That's what hurts more than the end, realizing that you were there for two, and now you're here, tired. Tired of trying to decipher silences, of waiting for texts that don't come, of living hung up on the uncertainty he doesn't resolve. This weakens you. This makes you ill, because there is no peace where you have to beg for presence. It's cruel, but you need to accept. Someone who hesitates so much in choosing you is already choosing not to be there. The time he spends thinking about whether he should stay is the time you are stuck, waiting for a movement that may never come. And every day you wait is a day less that you live for yourself. It's not fair to you. You deserve more. You deserve lightness. You deserve someone who will enthusiastically say, "I want to be with you," without having to think twice. You deserve someone who may feel fear, but chooses to stay anyway. Who has doubts, but faces them by your side. Not someone who steps away to process alone while you deal with the emptiness. You've already proven your love. You've shown that you know how to love. Now it's his turn to prove whether he knows how to take care of what he has in his hands. If he doesn't know, if he doesn't want to, if he isn't capable, you will no longer insist. You won't beg for a love that demands too much and gives too little. You'll choose yourself. You'll look at yourself with the same intensity that you looked at him. You'll listen to yourself. You'll respect yourself. You'll stop ignoring the discomfort, the signs, the tightness in your chest that you tried to shove under the rug. Because you don't want to stay in a cycle that only consumes you, that only exhausts you, that only diminishes you. And yes, he might come back. He might knock on your door when he feels your absence, when he realizes he's lost something that he might never find again. But by then, you will have learned. Those who easily walk away can't return as if nothing happened. Because you are not a passing stop, you are a destination. And those who cannot recognize that will no longer have space in your life. You will no longer accept emotional crumbs. You will no longer settle for halves. Because now you understand it's either whole or never again. And you know that this isn't coldness, it's maturity, it's protection, it's self-love. Because if you don't put yourself first, no one else will do it for you. You teach others how to treat you by the way you treat yourself. That's why now is the time to withdraw. To silence everything that's outside and listen to your inner voice, the one that always knew, the one that always warned you, the one that now calls you back home. You don't need to resolve anything with him. You don't need closure, a conversation, or an explanation. You need yourself, your most honest gaze, your strongest embrace, your whole truth. He may be lost, but you are not. You know what you want, you know what you feel, you know what you deserve, and that's what will guide your next steps. Don't look back. Don't regret. You loved. You tried. You were genuine, and no one can take that away from you. But it's over. This chapter is closed. This waiting is over. This emotional submission disguised as patience is done. Now it's about you, about your new beginning, about your freedom. You're not going to live in anticipation of what he will do anymore. You will take action. You will move on. You will grow. You will heal. You will be happy, not later, now. Because life doesn't wait for those who live waiting. Don't fool yourself into thinking he will change, that one day he will wake up different, that he will realize what he lost and come after you. Because he might notice, but it will be too late. It will be after he sees that you are no longer there, waiting. It will be after you've done what he didn't have the courage to do, move forward. And that will hurt him. But it will have already hurt you too much. It will have gone past the point where it was still worth insisting, because love that thrives on long waits loses its flavor, loses its color, loses its meaning. And you will no longer give love to someone who only knows how to take. You won't empty yourself trying to fill someone who won't commit. No more diminishing yourself for someone who doesn't choose you with the same intensity. No more living trying to prove that you deserve to be loved, when deep down you know the problem isn't with you. The problem is with him, with his timing, with his ghosts. But that's no longer your responsibility. It never was. If he truly wanted you, he wouldn't let you go to bed with doubts. He wouldn't leave you waiting for answers. He wouldn't have you trying to convince yourself that everything is fine when it's clearly not. Those who love care, those who love protect, those who love take a stand. He did none of that. And you need to stop justifying his absence with hope. You are tired, and you have every right to be. This isn't drama, it's not an exaggeration, it's emotional exhaustion. It's the result of enduring more than you should, of accepting less than you deserve, of adapting to a story where only one side is making an effort. You are waking up, you are seeing things clearly, and that is liberating. You have done enough. Now it's time to close that door, even with pain, even with longing. Because what hurts even more is staying where your heart finds no answers. Where doubt is constant, where insecurity has become routine. You want peace. And that says it all, because those who truly love bring peace. They bring presence. They bring strength. They bring clarity. You don't want vague promises anymore. You don't want the let's see, the maybe, the I need time. All of that just disguises the obvious. There's a lack of willpower, a lack of courage, a lack of truth. And you will no longer accept anything less. If he doesn't know what he wants, he's not right for someone who has already made up her mind. You have already decided. You want reciprocity. You want maturity. You want someone who is ready, who doesn't confuse intensity with neediness, who doesn't run away every time they feel something real, who doesn't hide behind excuses. You want someone who owns their feelings, who doesn't leave you alone when the weight of life becomes heavy, who doesn't treat you like a temporary break, who doesn't see you as a pit stop in the middle of their chaos. Because you have already held on too long. You have already given too many chances. You have already forgiven absences, accepted halves, silenced your pain. Now it's your turn. To listen to yourself, to stand up, to choose yourself with the same firmness you would have liked him to have when choosing you. And if he comes back, it will be too late. Not out of revenge, not out of pride, but out of respect for who you have become in this process. Because you have grown, you have matured. You have understood that being alone is better than being with someone who doesn't support you emotionally. You won't pretend everything is okay anymore. You won't hold on to a relationship that only exists because you're insisting on it, because you love alone, because you endure alone. This isn't love, this is disguised attachment. It's hope built on fragments. And you don't want to live like this anymore. You want to live with truth, with wholeness, with someone who looks at you and sees a future, not doubt. And you will. You will walk away from this. You will head toward yourself. You will find silence to hear what you've been suppressing. You will withdraw to rebuild yourself. You might cry, perhaps, but you won't go back. Because now you understand. Those who hesitate to choose you are already leaving you, and you won't ask them to stay anymore. You will just leave. With dignity, with self-love, with the certainty that those who truly deserve you won't put you in this position again. You will distance yourself, and it will hurt, yes, There will be days when you even miss what wasn't good. You will miss the presence even if it was absent. Because the heart is naive. It remembers the affection, the touch, the beginning. It tries to pull you back to the place where you, for so long, insisted on remaining. But you will resist. You will remember everything you had to swallow. You will remember how much you cried in silence, how much you stayed quiet to avoid losing someone, how much you settled for less to keep them close. You will remember the weight you carried alone while pretending there was still hope. And in those moments, don't go back. Moving forward isn't about feeling nothing anymore. It's about not allowing what hurt you to continue. It's about looking back with compassion, but with firmness. It's about understanding that love isn't synonymous with suffering, waiting, or confusion. You deserve a love that knows what it wants, that doesn't need to lose you to understand your value, that sees you as whole, even when you're in pieces, that stands firm, chooses you, and stays. You no longer have time for relationships that hold you back, keeping you stuck in a cycle of promises that never materialize. You want the truth, and the truth hurts, but it liberates. And now, you are ready for it. Go ahead. You don't need to explain yourself. You don't need to justify your choice. You did what needed to be done. You chose yourself. And that is strength, not selfishness. That is maturity, not coldness. You are stepping away from something that almost convinced you that love was absence. But now you know. Love is presence. Love is clarity. Love is action. May this emptiness that remains now be just the space you will use to build what you deserve. May every held-back tear transform into strength. May every silence endured turn into wisdom. May every absence you felt become an act of self-care. Don't blame yourself for trying. No guilt belongs to someone who loved genuinely. And you loved. That's not something anyone can erase. But now, you will love yourself with the same intensity you gave to that other person. And this choice nobody can take away from you. If this message spoke to your heart, if at any moment you saw yourself in these words, do something for yourself now. Subscribe to this channel. This space is for those who feel deeply but are learning to prioritize themselves. People like you who love, who suffer, but who rise. Comment below. Have you ever experienced this kind of silence? Did you have to distance yourself from someone you loved, but who didn't know how to love you back? I want to read your story. I want to know what this message stirred inside you. Let's talk. Let's share. Because when we speak, we heal. And of course, leave a like. This helps this message reach others who, just like you, are trying to find themselves in the midst of emotional chaos. You are not alone. And now more than ever, you are exactly where you should be with yourself. Now take a deep breath. Stay silent for a moment. And feel. Feel the relief of finally having chosen yourself. I am here with you.